Welcome to the overview over the features of our 3D story editor. In the context of informal learning, the system should enable users to collaboratively create and share nonlinear multimedia stories around 3D objects. This is the interface of the story editor. As you can see, it consists of different widgets. In the upper left corner, there's the palette and the canvas widget. In the canvas widget, the user models the story as such a graph structure. The user chooses elements from the palette and places them onto the canvas. The user can then interconnect them with different connection types. The story preview widget, located in the center, always shows a preview of the story, how it will look like to the eventual consumer. In the 3D Object Viewer widget, we can have a closer look at the 3D object. Besides the automatic camera transitions you already saw, you can also move around the camera manually. The widget can also be used to place tags at certain positions. In the property browser, we can edit the properties of the currently selected node. Last but not least, there's the story browser widget. Here we can see our available stories, edit, load or delete them, save or current progress, and create a new story. We now created an empty story. We can start off by scaffolding the story tree in the way it is shown here. Each story or sub-story has to have a begin, a middle and an end component. Before we start adding actual meaningful content to the story, let us first set up the 3D object which the story is about. In the 3D Object Viewer widget, we click here and select the URL of one of our models. The model is now linked to the story. Note that all changes we're doing in the canvas are propagated to all other remote users in the same space. We can therefore work collaboratively on the story. Let's assign a title and a text. Now we have to connect the media file to the part of the story which it belongs to. This is the point where we could save our story. The exclamation mark tells us that there is a semantic error in the story. In this case, this is obviously because there's a dead end at our text file. So, let's add further media content. We can also set up the desired camera perspective for a media file. We just click the 3D view in the palette, place it on the canvas, make sure it's selected, and then set up our camera the way we want it. When we click Save, this camera setup will be stored inside this node. We can then connect the node to all media elements which should have this camera setting. As we now switch through the story, our camera adjusts. We can also highlight certain parts of our objects. This is done using the 3D tags. Again, we place them on the canvas, select them, place our tag at the desired position, and click Save. Another interesting use of tags is to use tags for story transitions. This is done in a similar manner. When we consider our story finished, we can save it. When we now click View, we are redirected to a page where a consumer can view the story without all the editing widgets. Those were the main features of the story editor. Thank you for your attention.